Let's look at final exam question number 52 in Trigonometry Demystified, second edition. Please refer to page 377, and I also recommend that if you haven't seen it yet, you watch the video for question number 51, the previous question, because it'll tell you a lot of detail that'll help you out with this. We're asked about a point x, y, z in Cartesian 3-space, x equals 3, y equals -4, z equals 5. These values look a lot like the ones in the previous problem, except they're all negatives of those values. What is the distance of this point from the origin? Well, it's the length of a vector from the origin to that point. That is discussed on page 169 of the book, and we're given a formula there for the length of such a vector. We're calling that distance here d. In the book it's referred to as the length of a vector A, but it's exactly the same thing. Okay, that's all real good. Now, let's do the calculation. We get 3 squared equals 9, plus -4 squared equals 16, plus 5 squared equals 25. We take the square root of the sum here, we get the square root of 50. That's exactly the same distance as the point x, y, z in the previous problem. They're just on opposite sides. They actually lie along a single line, and they're just pointing in opposite directions from the origin. And again, I'll leave it up to you to, if you feel like it, try to plot in perspective where this point would be. There's an important thing to realize about Cartesian 3-space, besides the fact that all three axes are graduated in equally long increments. And that is the fact, if you take the plus x-axis and you go counterclockwise in that plane towards the plus y-axis, you can use the right-hand rule. Curl your fingers in that direction like that, and when you do that with your right hand, the thumb will point right at you, and that's the way that the z-axis technically would come here if we plot the x and the y-axes in the plane of this beige board. That's a white board under incandescent light, and using a webcam it turns into a beige board. The vector, the plus z-axis, would point right at us, just like the cross product of these two axes would go. Same rule, right hand rule. You need to be sure to get those orientations correct, or you're going to get messed up when you plot in Cartesian 3-space. That's a little detail that just makes it a little bit more interesting. But the correct answer here is C, the square root of 50 units away from the origin. Same distance as we had in problem number 51. And again, I recommend you go back and watch that video now if you haven't seen it yet. The video for question number 51.